Hey, people, welcome back to the Becoming series, exploring the deep truths and the principles that will enable you become everything you were created to be and do. And thank God it has stopped raining. It was raining so heavily, I thought my voice was going to be drowned out, right, for the next hour or so. But thankfully, it stopped raining and we can continue. Not that I'm cursing the rain, Lord. Right, rain is good because we need rain to grow, right? We need rain for agriculture, etc. So I'm not cursing the rain, but it was kind of like interfering with what I had to say. Okay, so I'm just grateful it has stopped for now, anyway. So let's talk about the root of all accomplishment. You know, um, anything great that has occurred through human beings, whether it's a business, everything that was ever accomplished by human beings actually started from somewhere and from something. So, what is the root of accomplishment? Where does it begin? To my mind, it begins in the mind, right? Everything that has ever been done started as a thought, right? Um, People don't just go out there and do something, just for this, just because they feel like. They thought about it first. Anything that has ever been done was first thought about. Somebody decided, or somebody just had a thought. What if, right? How about, why don't I am going to, it started with a thought. So the thought is the kernel, the root of all accomplishment. But that is not really what I want to say, because I think that is, if you've been following this series, I hope that has become more and more evident to you. But what I really want to concentrate on is, yes, the root of accomplishment is the mind, but also the root of failure is also in the mind, right? Because just the way we have people who have thoughts that leads them to do something, there are also people who have thoughts that lead them not to do anything, right? People go out there and are fearless in conquering stuff, in building new businesses and doing great things. Some other people are just totally fearful. And as a result, they are paralyzed and they're not able to act, even though they might have the potential to do something great. And I want to use this story. I've used it before, but I think it's also apt because it speaks to the title of this episode. And it's from the story in the Bible where Moses, the leader of the Israelites, was leading the people into the promised land. I'm sure you recall, if you know the story, that he didn't get there. But at that point, they had come close to it, but he decided to send out 12 spies to spy out the land and come back and give himself and the people a report. Let's see what the land is all about. Who are the people that are there? What are the likely things that we need to do, etc. Which is part of strategy, essentially. Before you go into new territory, you want to be able to stake it out. Okay, what's happening? What's the best place to position, etc. So how many spies went out? 12, right? 12 went out and 12 came back. They actually came back with evidence of the good things, because this was a land that was purportedly flowing with milk and honey, meaning that it had an abundance of stuff that human beings would need to live, fruits and veggies, and was very fertile, etc. So they came back with evidence of that, fruits, and all that. And people were like, oh wow, this is great. However, when asked to give a report, 10 of the 12 spies said something. What did they say? They said that, yes, the land is fertile, it's great and all that, but, and anything that always happens after but, you need to be very careful, right? They said land is fertile, land is great, but the people who are there are essentially giants. They're descendant from this huge tribe of giants, and all of that. They're huge people, and in their eyes, we looked like grasshoppers. I want you to note that sentence very carefully. In their eyes, we looked like grasshoppers. Have you noticed something strange about that sentence? Let me say it one more time. In their eyes, we looked like grasshoppers. Now, what does that mean? Now, this is so funny. Okay, so I'm looking at this pen, right? Right. The pen is in front of me. I can see it. You can see it. Now, if I say that in my eyes, this pen looks about 2 feet tall. Now, that might be wrong from your perspective, but I'm saying that in my eyes, I'm looking at this pen and to my understanding, it looks about 2 feet tall. You might look at it and say that it's considerably less, but I'm saying that in my eyes, right? So I'm entitled to my opinion. But if I said that in your eyes, this pen looks 2 feet tall, what have I done? I have essentially transmuted my thought, or essentially transmuted the way I think you're thinking about this pen. Let me say that again. I have transmuted the way I think you are thinking about this pen. I don't know for certain if that is what you're thinking, but I believe that that is what you're thinking. Meanwhile, you might be thinking something else entirely. That is exactly what happened in this story. The 10 spies said that in their eyes, the giant's eyes, we look like grasshoppers. Now, how do they know that those people looked at them and had the mindset that they were grasshoppers? How did they know that? It is simply because the attitudes of the 10 spies was such that they were in a place of fear. They were acting out of a place of fear, right? And because they were fearful, they assumed that those guys were so big and they were so small that obviously those guys would have thought that these guys are like grasshoppers. So in effect, they transmuted what they felt about themselves. That's essentially what they felt about themselves. We are no good. We're not able to do this. Those guys are too much. We're never going to get it done. We might as well give up and, let's get out of here and find some other place. That is essentially what they told the people. And of course, the people started to get upset, etc. However, two of the spies said the opposite. One of them, whose name was Caleb, said in effect that we are well able. He told the people, don't be afraid. We are well able to go into that land and conquer it. Now, these 12 spies went to the same place, saw the same people, saw the same things, but had different reports. Why? Because they had different attitudes. Your attitude is what is going to separate you, right? To either toe the path of success or the path of failure. Your attitude is a result, and we talked about attitude, is a result of everything that you have come to believe. So if you believe that you are nothing and you can never amount to anything, that would ultimately play out in your attitude. So whatever you say, whatever you do will be colored by your attitude. However, if you have the mindset that you are able to do something, it is also going to be reflected in your attitude. Because if somebody says that, look, this thing looks impossible, you would say, no, I can do it. I believe I can do it. Right? So you have talked based on your attitude. Your attitude can make you believe you are a grasshopper in the eye of a so-called giant. That's really where I'm going to. Your attitude. It is so important. Whatever you're going to do, whatever you're going to become, you will face challenges. You will face situations that would seem to be too much for you. What will be the deciding factor will be your attitude. Your attitude will dictate what you're going to do when you face that situation. Your attitude. Never forget the power of your attitude.